right, guys, episode 2 of the Grit and Gratitude podcast. Last week, we talked a little bit about who we are, what we're about, a little bit about of each one of ourselves. What do we want to talk about this week?
I think the best thing to talk about, following up from the introductions, would be more of, you go around anybody that listens to us, and gratitude and grit and gratitude. It means something completely different to each individual that comes across another individual. So I think today would be a good day to still kind of introduce ourselves, but more of the fact of what grit and gratitude means to each of us as an individual.
I like it. What about you, Kendrick?
I agree. Talking about the grit and gratitude.
Okay. Mm-hmm. We can kind of get started on how or why it came about for me. Came about, I don't know, probably 2 years ago, just going through the daily struggles of being a business owner, being a mentor to people, just being a good person in general. And you got to have the grit, you got to have the gratitude. And what has really stemmed for me and what grit means to me is when you're going through the hardest times of your life, whatever that is. It's different for everybody. It's not the same. For me, I became a young father at a very young age, and then became a single father, at the age of 21, raising a son on my own. Really, really embedded a lot of things in me on the grit side of things, not the gratitude. That came later on, but the grit side of it is that I didn't have a choice. I had to dig deep every day to be that man for my son, for myself, and make sure that I showed him the right ways. And as he grew up to become a young man that he is now at 16 years old, that I had to show him that it isn't always easy. And when it's easy, but when it's hard, that's what you find out what you're made of. So I think the grit for me really came, like I said, when I became, a young father at such a young age. And the gratitude came more, to be honest, when I started developing more skills as not just as a man and a business owner, but as a person in general, and seeing that those two things have to go hand in hand. You can't just have one. You have to have both. You try to have one and you fail, because in the moments that you're grateful, if you're just constantly grateful and you get punched in the mouth and you don't have that grit to get back up and remember your why and why you do what you do, then you ultimately you're not going to get back up. And then the grit side of things, you can be as gritty as you want, the grumpy, the rough and tough, but that only carries you so far when you feel like on the grit side of things, you've been crawling on your hands and knees and doing anything and everything that you can think of in that stage of your life, that there's no end to it. There's always going to be an end. There's always going to be a better. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. So you gotta have them both. And I found that through obviously meeting you guys. I found that through each employee that works here. I found that through all the relationships over the years that I've built. And that's kind of how the grit and gratitude came for me. And it's a constant practice too. And I think you both can agree with me that it's not something that you just wake up and you're like, I'm grateful today and I'm gritty today. You have to work at it. You have to work at understanding how that operates on a day to day, because all it takes is a good or a bad moment to flip that switch and you forget everything and it goes out the window. And next thing you know, you're not grateful and you don't have the grit and you just feel like you're punched and beat down. So that's what I got for grit and gratitude in a short scale. As we do more podcasts, there'll be more that I think we're going to all uncover about ourselves and what it means to us and how genuinely every day we live by it. And it's hard because some days you're really grateful and then there's other days you're not. And then there's some days you're really gritty and some days you're not. So it's a constant practice. So I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you, Kendrick. And I want to hear where your story comes from and what it means to you.
So it's kind of similar to yours. So back when I was 18, graduated high school, I had 2 jobs, working 90, 100 hours a week, just making money hand over fist. And always had the hustle to not let myself fail. Ended up having my daughter, and when I went on leave, when she was born, I came back and my whole world crushed. Like I lost all the overtime, all the money that I was making, and I essentially went from making, I don't know, just put a number on it, maybe $7,000 a month to $1,500. And so trying to bounce back from that just made me grateful for everything I had, because it took that to make me realize that I was taking everything for granted and I didn't appreciate what I had. So now every day I wake up, I'm grateful for everything I got. Even if I'm having a bad day, I'm grateful that I got to have the bad day, because you got to have the bad days to enjoy the good ones. So that's me.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail on the head for you, for as long as I've known you too. I mean, that definitely is how you operate, and definitely I see that on a day-to-day basis, you know, with you. There's days where I'm having neither grit nor gratitude days and feeling like, you know, every rock is piled on my back and I can't stand up, and you come in and it's always smile on your face, ready to roll even in those tough moments. So I definitely can see where that comes from. Mm-hmm. How about you, Nick?
So a lot of my grit comes from the year 2013. It's when I joined the military, doing something like that at a young age.
He's
much.
A baby.
Yeah. So, no, definitely, that's where my grit comes from. Going through boot camp, I had a rough time going through boot camp and whatnot, and being able to dig deep and just figure out. I mean, honestly, that at that point it was just a game. That's kind of when, you know, you graduate boot camp, no matter what branch of the military you're in, and that's when you start to see gratitude. That's when you start to be kind of grateful and thankful for, you know, the grit that you just endured, because now you get to wear the certain uniform of whatever military branch and represent this great country, United States of America. Say America, everybody, America. And so that was kind of the start of it. And then as, you know, time goes on, as I've met you guys, as I've gone through life, when I got out of the military, I wasn't able to provide for my family as much. I had to move in with my in-laws, actually move my wife and myself in with the in-laws with my dogs. And that kind of just took me back to reality. You know, it was all rainbows and unicorns when I was in the military. You make your paycheck, you get paid on the 1st and the 15th of every month. You know, it's just, I was 18. Me and my wife got married at the age of 19, and we were just living life out on the coast, not having to worry about anything. Well, then, you know, you get out of the military and get smacked back to reality, trying to find a job, trying to find your way in life as a civilian instead of military personnel, and all that pretty much goes out the window. So going from there to now, being grateful for, you know, the boss that I have, the company that I work for, the guys that I've met, it's just kind of like a never ending cycle to where now, you know, being in the service-based industry, you have to deal with, you know, rough days that you have to have the grit to get through, that you have to also take a step back and be grateful for where you're at and where you're going, and where you came from as well. So definitely just kind of, for me, it's a never revolving cycle to where lessons have to be learned. You learn the best lessons on the worst days. And going from there to being thankful and grateful that you learn those lessons throughout, you know, weeks, months, years, what the case be. Like I said before, just a never-ending cycle of good days, bad days, and being able to get through them. Great book out there called The Second Mountain. First thing that comes to mind when you think of grit and gratitude is there's always a second mountain. Tell you guys all the time that the top of the mountain has the scariest view. Heard that in a song, but that is the perfect definition of grit and gratitude, is that you have to have the grit to climb the mountain. And when you get to the top, you need to be thankful, but you can't get too comfortable and be too thankful, because there's always going to be a second mountain.
Yeah, I agree. And I think you guys have seen, we've all seen each other grow over the last, 2 years working so closely together. But, I think, we've seen guys come through here, employees and people that we've built relationships and friendships with, in and outside of work, and kind of the world that we live in and the things that we see, of what's going on and how people are raising their kids, but how businesses are treating employees. And, we could go on and on about it. But I think, what the majority of people are missing in life is that second mountain, right? I think people genuinely set this expectation and they're like, when I get to this level, that's where it's at. It's like, we've talked about retirement, right? We hear that word retirement thrown around every day, all day. I can't wait to retire. I can't wait to retire. retiring is just, that's your expiration date. That's the day that your expiration starts and you start to go sour. That's the date that you decide to say, okay, this is when I'm going to start just essentially becoming dust in the ground, because you quit moving, you quit having those goals, and you quit wanting to climb that mountain, and you quit getting to the top and then being like, okay, there's another mountain right there. And I see it so much, and you guys can attest to it. I see it in younger people, you know, that are in their early 20s and stuff, and they're at the top of their mountain. At least they think they are, and they're not. They haven't even touched the potential that they're capable of. And you know, you both do. Those are the hardest days for me, to find that grit and gratitude, because I believe so much in people that I'm like, you're 25 years old and you think you've reached the best that you are. You haven't even scratched the surface. But I think we're being taught that. You know, I think that over the years we're being taught that we put an expiration date on ourselves, and that is retirement. That is age. By this age, I want to have or be X, Y, and Z. No, it's okay to set goals, but you're setting as an expiration date by that. And that's a sad thing to see. And you two are exactly not that. And we talk about the 1% of the 1%, right? Well, we understand each other because we are the 1% of the 1%. So we get each other. You know, we go home and talk to our wives. We talk to our friends that don't work with us or that are in our lives, and they look at us like we're crazy. Mm-hmm. They're like, "What? I'm going to be 37 this year. You're going to be 37. You're going to be 29, Nick?
Niner.
29. You know, and every day, man, right? Yeah, he's right there.
They always tell me,
yeah,
wait until you're 30.
Wait until you're 30.
And you ain't able to get your butt out of bed.
Yeah, but you know, it really it's disheartening, because you know the world is at your fingertips. Even though we're going through what we are in the world and the politics and business and whatnot, it's an oyster, man. You can have whatever you want, and I think we try to share that with everybody and give advice to everybody, but it's hard when nobody has that. They don't have the grit, man. They don't have the grit and the gratitude. The gratitude is just to roll out of bed, have $50 in your bank account, go get your Casey's pizza and your Red Bull, and do it all over again the next day. Maybe go, hey, what do we always say? Beer and pizza, baby. Beer and pizza. You know, no.
They expect the gratitude without the grit.
Exactly. They expect that there's no work. And, you know, you guys know what I'm about to quote. I'm going to quote the great Andy Frisella, man. You know what? The work comes before the belief, and that's with anything in life. You guys are big sports fanatics. I'm not. Just a fact here, everybody that's going to listen to the podcast. I know absolutely nothing about sports at all. So when these guys reference sports, I'm going to look like a deer in the headlights. But
he does know who Golden State is, though.
I do, but that's only because of the Mamba. The Mamba, baby.
Oh.
You did not just
Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Los Angeles Lakers, baby. Let's go.
Time out. But
Golden State Warriors. You're talking about Chef Steph Curry.
He's also the Mamba, correct?
No. Negative. There's only one.
Fun fact. There you go.
See, he doesn't know anything.
That's not a blooper. That was for real.
That was real.
Oh, Lordy.
So then, time out then. Give me.
Yes, let's get on to some sports. Let's shake it up a little bit. What?
Yeah. So
who's Steph Curry?
No, I know who Steph Curry is, but
Curry, baby.
I want to know or understand then. Okay, you got the Mamba.
Mm-hmm. Black Mamba.
Black
Mamba.
Now.
Mamba.
Yep.
Okay, whatever.
Black Mamba.
King James.
Then what is Steph Curry? What is he?
The greatest shooter to ever come into the National Basketball Association.
Yes, but what is his nickname?
Chef Curry.
Chef Curry. Okay, all right. Steph the Chef. I got it now.
Steph the Chef.
You didn't even go Chef Curry.
You can just do Chef, but yes,
Chef
Steph
Curry.
the Chef. I like it.
It's fine. It is what it is. Fun fact, here you go. I don't know shit about sports. Anyways, but there's things that I've obviously read in books or listened to podcasts about different athletes, and clearly I mix them up. But one that sticks in my head that is probably Kobe and not Steph Curry is how somebody like himself could wake up each day until
he is talking about Kobe.
Yeah, he could wake up each day, do what he did from not only a professional standpoint, but as a father, as a husband, as a leader to a team, and not just a team, but teams all over the world and people that look up to him, but still go in before games, and quote me if I'm wrong, because I may be wrong, but the dude would just shoot free throws nonstop until he could just nonstop sink free throws. Right? He would literally.
That's impressive.
And he would literally, and like I said,
yes.
That's what stuck in my head, because it wasn't like he did that in the beginning. He did that no matter what. It was, hey, the guys are going out to the bar. They're going to go chase some tail, whatever. And he's like, you know what, guys? I'm going to go shoot some free throws. Mm-hmm. And they're probably like, dude, you already got it. Yeah, but I'm going to go shoot some free throws. Why? Because he's a master of his craft, because he's got the grit, and he knows that if he doesn't or didn't stay at the top of his game, even when, I don't know, how old was he when he passed?
40s. I don't know exactly.
And the dude could probably still outshoot
fact check
99% of anybody that would ever come against him, because that constant just remembering that grit and gratitude. And I think he, you know, like I said, I don't know enough about sports, but that's
41
stuck in my head. 41, yeah,
41.
But I mean, to have a guy at that level, and I hear you guys talk about like LeBron James a lot, and everybody knows who that is, but like for somebody like him to be at the level at which he was, he didn't need to practice free throws, but he always wanted to keep his what sharp. He wanted to keep that act sharp.
Well,
right?
keep that act sharp. Basics.
Back
Stick
to
to the basics.
If your act starts to dull, you know, it's game over, man. If you don't keep your act sharp, then you're nothing but hitting a blunt tree, and it's not going nowhere. You might shake some leaves, but you're not going to do anything. And no matter what, just like anything else, you got to keep your skills sharp. That's a huge thing around here too, right? You know, we're always trying to sharpen our skills and not get complacent, and you know, trying to teach people those same skills, because we've all been complacent at one point in our life, right? You know, and then what happens? Just get rocked in the mouth.
Yeah, we experienced that, a couple months ago?
Absolutely. You know, we're
on a business.
We're like, yeah, dude, we're doing great. We're blah, blah, blah. And, you know, we've overcome quite a few hurdles in the last 2 years together, but, you know, we became complacent in the sense that we thought that we had the correct processes in play, the right people in play, that the team was doing what we all needed the team to do. And we found out real quick that clearly our axe was dull, and here we are, you know, and that's going to happen. I think that's a cycle, you know, and I don't know that I want to say complacency is a cycle, because I don't think it is, but it's more of getting complacent with the people that you put into positions, whether it's in your business life or personal life, and being like, yeah, they got it. No, man, if I think that we all can agree to this. If we don't hold one another accountable, and that doesn't matter whether it's in business or in life, that axe gets dull, because no one's testing you. Mm-hmm. No one's making sure and that your gangster's still there. They're like, if no one tests it, it ain't there. You start to lose it.
You're a product of your environment. I'm sitting here thinking of Mamba mentality, because I want to talk about Mamba mentality. Yeah, I know.
Let's get into it.
No, just Mamba mentality. So,
Grit and gratitude.
It's the killer mentality. That's what Kobe Bryant had. That's why Kobe Bryant always preached first in, last out. First into the gym, last out of the gym. Obviously, that's a great leadership aspect, but also the Mamba mentality that he had. And it was just always the killer mentality. Brings me back to the Redeem team. The Redeem team in the United States Olympics was the basketball team, consisted of Kevin Durant, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, I can't remember all of them.
LeBron James.
Bronny was on there, or not Bronny James, but LeBron James was on there. And
don't forget Muggsy Bogues.
Not Muggsy Bogues. But the biggest thing is that the United States was going against Spain. Can't remember if it was a championship game. Plenty of people out there can fact check me, but I'm pretty sure it was a championship game. And very first play of the game, Kobe Bryant looked at Team USA and said, I'm going to run through Pau. And Pau and Kobe Bryant were best friends, but played on the same team, but they're on separate teams. You had Team Spain, Team US. Sure enough, Kobe Bryant ran through Pau Gasol, and it opened up Team USA's eyes. Guys like LeBron James, who looked up to Kobe as much as he looked up to Michael Jordan. Guys like Dwayne Wade as well, all saw that Mamba mentality and that killer instinct that Kobe Bryant had, and that's. Honestly, me as a sports guru, I absolutely love sports. Go Iowa State Cyclones in March Madness this year. Yes, sir. Sweet 16. But no, seriously, that's like one of the guys that I look up to. I can't remember if I brought up Kobe or LeBron James in the first
You brought up
podcast,
LeBron.
But
I think you brought up LeBron.
Both of those guys, but it's that killer mentality and that Mamba mentality where as the leader of that team, as the LA Lakers, he always ensured that he showed his team, no matter who was on it, that it's do or die, essentially. So Mamba mentality. I was thinking about that the whole time we were talking about Kobe. So
well, it's do or die, or it's 100-0, right?
Yep.
That's just how it is. That's how it has to be. There's.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
no, Kenny, get in here.
Kenny.
Speak
I'm
up,
in here.
bro.
I've been talking. Anyways, I was going to ask. So in a leadership aspect, Kobe Bryant for the Lakers or LeBron James?
Kobe Bryant, no hesitation.
There you go.
I just wanted to look at you in the eyes.
Can I get the reason why? Can we get a reason why?
Just watch ESPN.
Just Mamba mentality. I mean, that's the biggest thing. So LeBron James, I don't know if you know now. I'm being serious. I don't know if you know now. LeBron James plays on the Lakers.
Right.
LeBron James is wearing what? Number 23 still, right?
Yes.
Kobe Bryant was what? Number 24. Fact check. I don't know if you know. What's the reason Kobe Bryant picked number 24 after he got rid of 8?
Michael Jordan.
I think it was
One better than Michael Jordan.
That's what it was.
One better than Michael Jordan.
Wow.
Then you
Okay.
remember when LeBron went to the Heat and he changed his number to 6?
6.
Because 2 times 3 equals 6.
Yes.
That was so dumb.
So yeah, for that question, leadership aspect is Kobe Bryant, because even though Kobe Bryant is probably considered the 3rd greatest basketball player of all time behind LeBron James and Michael Jordan, and everybody can have that argument and conversation for as long as they live, Kobe Bryant by far is the best leader that the NBA has ever seen.
I think he would have fared well in the earlier league as well.
Yeah.
Playing with Michael Jordan, I don't think LeBron would fare too well.
Don't want to get into that debate.
That could be
That's
a
like another 17 episodes in a row podcast. So
That's for like a sports podcast whenever we get Wade schooled up.
yeah. It's gonna take. You're gonna need a lot of years to get me cooled up.
Just go watch Dream Team on Netflix and go watch The Last Dance on Netflix, and that's pretty much all you need to know about the NBA.
I watched some of The Last Dance. Obviously, I mean, I think everybody has, for
Michael
good
Jordan.
reason. It's Michael Jordan, man. Like, who doesn't know who Michael Jordan is? It doesn't matter what sports. If you don't watch it or you do, you're gonna know who he is.
Michael Jordan's in NASCAR.
he was
Yeah.
a boxer, no?
What's crazy about the whole NASCAR thing? So, I don't know. It was probably like a month ago, and I'm like, what was I watching? I was watching something, and I'm like, I didn't even know he was really in NASCAR.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, how is he like? He owns a full blown NASCAR team.
Him and Danny
like
Hamlin.
he is genuinely a NASCAR fan and has been a fan. And it wasn't just. I mean, everything's a money move, but it really wasn't. It was like he genuinely enjoyed it.
He grew up in North Carolina, I think. He grew up in North
yes.
Carolina, and that's where NASCAR is huge.
Right.
Yeah.
That is NASCAR country.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep.
So I mean it was pretty wild. I was like, that's crazy to think about, Michael Jordan and the career he had that you guys would know more about from a basketball standpoint, but then all these different things that he's put his hand in from anything that he's ever touched has been team oriented. Which is
Did you know
crazy.
that he played baseball
I did know that. Yep.
for the Chicago Yankees?
I didn't know who it was, but I do know that he played baseball.
No, it was for the White
Because
Sox.
wasn't like at one point, wasn't he just going to he was just going to do baseball and not.
Yeah, he was going to try it out. And was it the White Sox that he played for? I can't remember. Yeah, so it was Chicago White Sox because he
seen
played on the
Space
Bulls,
Jam.
obviously. So,
Yeah, Space Jam. Yeah.
but yeah, no, you can continue on. But yeah, he's an athlete
Just
in general.
And an athlete in general, anything. And like, it's crazy to see because now, like athletes, new athletes, it's not like it used to be where, they had to, the whole saying, what is it? Hard work beats talent, when talent don't work. Right.
Yep.
And unfortunately in this day and age, we're taught that talent wins everything. Like everything that's in front of us is in social media is shiny, bright. You know, that's the talent. I got the talent, the magic touch. There's no magic touch. There's no magic recipe. There's no nothing, because that fact and that statement of hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work, that is there. You couldn't be further from like the truth of that is so deeply ingrained in anybody that wants to be successful or be a star athlete. I'm sure, like Kendrick, when you play tennis and things like that, like you worked super hard at it, like you do now at when you know your gym and taking care of yourself and things like that. I guess I got a question to follow this up with. Do you guys think that you're taught that, or do you think that it's ingrained in you and you don't have a choice? Like because I think you can be taught. I think you can be taught things and you might have it temporarily, but I think you're either born with it or you're not. I think you either got it or you don't.
I think everybody has it. Just some people can't find it.
Yeah. Do you think that it could be, and that's why I'm asking, do you think it could be a product of their environment, how they're raised? Because we go to these debates where, you know, there's people online that debate about, there's people that have literally, you know, grew up in a cardboard box, crackhead parents, you name it, and become the most successful human beings in the world. And then you have people that come from the most successful people in the world and end up broke, poor, and they blame it on what? Everybody blames their circumstance. I feel like everybody's like, I'm just a product of my environment. And that's where my thought is are you born with it? Do you either have it or you don't because of that?
I'm about to make the most controversial statement ever known to mankind.
Oh boy.
If gender can be a choice, anything is a choice. I'm just saying. It's controversial.
Hey,
I get it. But
good.
It's a choice.
I'll take it.
I think everybody is born with it, just like Kendrick said, but it's a choice. You know, I know you know, I know you know, and I know because I'm talking.
And I know.
But that I think everybody is born with it, and it's a choice. You go through life surrounding yourself with people, like I said earlier, you become a product of your environment, and I do thoroughly believe that. Now, the grit that people show, it is a choice. I mean, I grew up, and I remember just me vividly. I grew up with my grandparents. Grandparents raised me. Shout out to them. But it was the simple things. Like, I would wake up every day, whether if it was summer or school, and I would have to empty every trash can that's in my house. Mind you, my grandmother is a sweetheart. Absolutely love her to death. There was a trash can in every room in my house. Every bedroom, every bathroom, the day room, the living room, the kitchen, the sunroom, and the laundry room. And then there was one in the garage. So I had to go around, and it was tedious to the point to where you had to empty every trash can before you can move on to the next thing in the morning. And it came down to it to where I think that is the beginning of where my discipline started getting instilled within me, is my grandmother, my grandfather ensuring that I did that little thing in the morning that now correlates to having an accomplishment you do throughout the day. I always had to make my bed in the morning as well. And that was, I got forced to do that essentially, so you can bring it down to parenting. But yeah, it comes back to instilling the discipline and getting something accomplished throughout the day, and that being a choice, because I chose to take that small thing as far as emptying all the trash cans throughout the house, and I took it to a bigger scale to where now my sense of accomplishment through the day, getting here, getting to work. It's not work to me. It's not a job to me. Okay. It's a way of life because I love what I do. I love the people I work with, but it's getting up out of bed. Unfortunately, my wife is still in bed, so I can't necessarily make my bed in the morning, so I go to the gym. I go to the gym every morning. That's my sense of accomplishment for the day. If you always start your day out on a positive note, you will have a positive day. If you start your day out on a negative note, unfortunately, I do feel like you will have a negative day more times than not.
Yeah, not to cut you off, but that we've talked, we personally have had these conversations about, even me, where, you know, you get busy in life, that's an excuse. Busy is an excuse we use to not take care of ourselves, or busy is an excuse to not have that good day. or roll out of bed and be grateful or to start your day on a positive note. And I cut you off because I can really attest to the fact that I myself, when I used to get up and go to the gym consistently with you every day, that win for the day, that's the win, man. That's your first win of the day. Bam, you accomplish something. You know that 5% of people have accomplished anything before 10 o'clock, let alone before 8 o'clock. And so that feeling, that is a euphoric feeling that releases endorphins, but it releases that positive mindset. We were like, man, I did that. When some people will be like, yeah, you went to the gym. Yeah, well, you don't even get out of bed till 8. And I, from a personal standpoint, like you taking the trash out, like that was a win for you. And maybe when you were younger, you were like, man, this sucks. Look at, I have a 16-year-old, and, instilling those same qualities in what you just said with trash and him doing it. Yeah, he hates it right now. But we all three know that when he's here,
he will thank you when he's older.
In 5 years from now, he's going to be like, he's going to be so far ahead from that standpoint, because we instilled that, hey, you have to do this. This is a must do. Or making your bed in the morning. I'm going to throw another sports one out there, because this is one that I really do genuinely enjoy. Good old Coach Wooden, shout out, R.I.P. He would teach us. He would teach his athletes that it starts with putting your socks on in the morning, period. Putting your socks on. How you put your socks on, you put your socks on, and then that's an accomplishment. Once you get dressed, then obviously you make your bed. You can't be a star athlete or a star business owner, a star leader, employee, friend, husband, father, all these things without that first accomplishment of the day. And
from the ground up.
From the ground up.
From the ground up.
And that is something that we can all attest to, because we don't always follow that, right? There's days that you don't want to do this or you don't want to do that, and then you got a bad day. Kendrick, I think you're probably one of the most consistent people. You both are super consistent, but you're more consistent when it comes to, I think, your mood. You really have that under control, where like, even if you had a bad night with the kids or the wife, you don't let that affect anything, and you're like, it is what it is, move on from it.
Unless if you're here at 7:20 and have to hear all about it.
Okay. So I got it.
No, it's all good.
No, I learned a long time ago.
You're 100% right on that.
Curve it up. So if you worry about it all day, let it bother you, then it's not fair to you guys. And it surely isn't fair to me that I'm pissed off at my kids for not listening, and I come in here and then guess what? I'm pissed off all day. So I don't want to put that on you guys being pissed off. So I just let it go. It is what it is.
We feed off of each other's energy. That's the worst part about it.
Absolutely. We're all empathetic people, and it's one of those things that when you got people that genuinely you feed off of, and everybody will say that, oh, we all feed off negative energy. Dude, it doesn't matter what energy it is.
Right.
It can be negative, positive, funny, goofy, serious. Us three, we feed so much off of each other that, like, when you guys make the comments to me where you're like, Wade, you set the pace, dude. You set the mood and the pace. That and that is a big ask sometimes, and not because I can't fulfill it, because it's a choice where I'm like, I ain't fulfilling that today. And I know that it's, whether it's right or wrong, it just happens, because those days do happen. And that goes back to, though, Nick, your way of accomplishing something before you get out of bed. You genuinely have to do something positive and accomplish something before you do anything else. Don't get on your phone. Don't look at your email. Don't do nothing. Just get out of bed and do something that is going to move that needle that day. Just one thing, even if it was to make coffee for your wife, or get your daughter out of bed, if your wife normally does it, whatever it is, because that is something that is an accomplishment that you don't particularly always do. And then that'll just start to snowball into, I think, more wins. And the days that I don't have a win in the morning, you guys already can tell. I mean, that's just a fact. I come in here today happy as a lark, ready to roll, smile on my face, and I had my win, man. And with the days I don't, you know what it is. And like you said, Kendrick, it's not fair, right? It's not fair to come in and have that weight on your chest, because then it just goes into everybody.
Agreed.
Thinking about Kobe Bryant again. One thing that he always used to say, I think he used to say it to himself. He would look at himself in the mirror after every practice. I think. People, you can fact check me. But it came from him is that after every day he would look back and say, did you get better today? Mamba mentality, always getting better, not staying stagnant. And that's a big thing that I've been thinking about a lot recently, definitely when it comes to work, doing my job, but also as a father, husband, and I guess a friend to some of my homies. But it's one of those things that did you get better today? And having, to me, it's been a point of reflection for gratitude because, you start your day out with a win. Okay, that's what we all strive to do every day. Okay, I get up, I lift. You get up, hang out with Kyler, or do your guys' thing. You get up, you take you used to until you got a 16-year-old. You just take your boy to school. So where you start finding your wins from now on, but then also at the end of the night before you go to bed, going to sleep in a good mood. They always say growing up, once again, married at 19, they're like, well, just make sure you guys don't ever go to bed mad at each other. That's what we always heard from anybody that we came across. But it's also going to bed on a positive note, sitting back, reflecting and looking at yourself essentially and asking yourself, did you get better today? And if so, how did you get better today? So then you can become even better tomorrow. So that's another thing.
It's the small wins. The small wins compound. And we talk about that a shitload here. Like that's the small things are what count. Anybody can do the big things, but the small things are what matter the most.
You can frame a wall up. Anybody can slap some 2x4s together and frame a wall up. But how sturdy is that wall going to be?
Exactly. Is it straight?
Are your struts?
Thinking garage doors, big dog.
Are your studs spaced out evenly? Are they spaced out correctly?
I'd say we're pretty evenly spaced out, gentlemen.
Yeah, we are.
Stud joke. Sorry.
Stud. Oh man, dude, that was good.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Oh, that went right over our head.
That was me. Hello.
That was.
You're
was
a stud,
humor.
Kenny.
I
You're a stud, bro.
I said we're all studs.
It's pretty hard to catch your humor sometimes because you're just so straight faced,
analytical,
analytical.
3 studs and a bud.
Yep.
Who's the bud?
Behind the camera
guy.
But no, I think we've had a lot of good conversations. The last 2 podcasts that we've done, and there's so many more things.
Take a shout out to Baltimore. I'm just saying. Yeah. Take a shout out to Baltimore. Tragic events that took place, but thoughts are with those that are still not found.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Continue on.
Well, yeah, there were 6.
Carry on.
Yes.
Yep.
So they were workers, though. It happened early in the morning.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too into politics and world events.
I mean, that goes back to construction. Did they construct that bridge correctly in 1977?
See. I don't know. How many ships went under that bridge?
Millions.
Right.
Did you guys see that Ryan Garcia supposedly predicted that happening?
Who's Ryan Garcia?
May I ask who Ryan Garcia is?
He's a boxer.
Oh. Well, guess what? He's been punched in the head, so I wouldn't
UFC.
believe half of what he says. They call that punch drunk.
UFC.
What?
I don't watch boxing.
Oh.
Jesus.
I thought you were
sports guy.
Yeah.
No, I think we have had some good conversations.
I think
wonderful conversations.
I'm
grateful that I get to work with you 2 guys every day.
I think we all take it for granted. Anybody takes life for granted, period. I don't care who you are. You can be the most successful person in the world, the poorest person in the world. You can say you're the happiest, but at some point in your day, you're gonna take life for granted. And if somebody says, I never do, they're a liar, because we're human. And all we can do is ask of ourselves is to try to, like Nick said, be better tomorrow. Be better than you were yesterday. Did you move that needle in the way that you wanted to just a little bit? Because if you did, that's a win. And that's something that I struggle with the most. I can have wins every day, but the wins in my mind have to equate to some large win when I need to just take the small things and remember that, what do we always say? If the small things
right, Do the big things right.
Yep. And that all goes hand in hand. And most days I don't take my own advice. So, throughout this podcast and kind of this journey of why we started doing this, I hope that, it brings to light, not just for us, but for other people to really step back and take a deep breath in those really shitty moments and remember how good you have it. And in those really good moments, remember how shitty it can be, because they go hand in hand, and you got to remember both. Because if you come stagnant or complacent on one or the other, guess what? It all equals bad. Mm-hmm. It'll take you down. It'll suck every ounce of energy out of you. So there's going to be a lot of things I think we're going to talk about over the next 2-3 months as we do the podcast, but it's always going to circle back around, I think, to whether it's a business related, whether it's home related, whether it's a friendship, but it's always going to circle back around to why we're grateful and why we're gritty. So you guys got anything else to?
Yeah, I think we got to do a weekly sports bite as well. So we'll do a sports bite before we conclude.
Okay, well, go ahead and
no, let Kenny go.
Oh.
Yeah,
before your sports bite. Hopefully I don't lose my train of thought here. But one thing that helps me stay grateful is about 20 years ago. Makes me seem old, but someone once told me that you could be in a shitty situation, but there's always someone out there that would be happy to be in the situation that you're in. So
raw.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You take stuff for granted. You're not able to get everything that you want, but there's somebody out there that'd be happy with what you got. So
absolutely. And there's people that have very, very little and are grateful.
Wow.
So, do you want to do your little sports bite before we?
One man's floor is another man's ceiling. Don't forget that.
Some people are short, can't reach the ceiling.
Sports bite of the week. We still got March Madness going on.
Kendrick is about 5 foot.
No inches.
5'7".
No inches.
Hey. Let's not discuss that on air.
March Madness.
All right, give us our March Madness content.
April foolery.
So, dude, April is right around the corner. Look at that.
It is.
Games we got tonight there, Kendrick. Wade, you can chime in too, just because Wade. Oh, I already know which one Wade's going to pick. So, games we got tonight, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Early game, Clemson, Arizona. Arizona's 2 seed, Clemson 6 seed. Clemson is hot right now. They're projected by a lot of brackets to get out the first round. Who do you got in that game tonight?
Clemson.
He's calling the upset. I'm going to take Arizona.
Go Tigers.
I'll take Arizona on that one. Next game starts a little bit later, 6:30 our time. San Diego State, who was a Cinderella story last year, made it to the finals against the number 1 overall seed UConn. Who you taking? Taking UConn all day. I don't know why you got to think about that. It's Utah versus the field in this year's March Madness tournament.
San Diego State.
You're crazy.
San Diego State.
Wade, what do you got?
I'm going to follow suit with San Diego State.
Welcome to the team.
Dude, you guys are nuts.
Lunch?
Nuts, dude.
Lunch?
All right. Lunch. You want to do lunch on that one? I'll do that all day. It's UConn versus the field. Are you kidding me?
Hey, I'm just saying.
Qdoba.
What's the spread?
Qdoba.
Udoba.
Spread's 11.5, bud.
That's it?
You kidding me? Over under is 136. Anyways, going on to the third game. Saving the best for last, of course. Third game. The Alabama Crimson Tide versus the Tar Heels. Who are you taking?
It ain't going to be Alabama. Alabama, no.
I'm going to call Alabama on that upset, boys.
I would, but I don't
Taking
like
Alabama. Alabama averages over 80 points a game this year.
I'll take Alabama, too, just because,
I'm taking North Carolina.
Everybody goes Alabama for football.
Roll Tide.
So that's the only reason why I'm going to say Alabama.
Never say that again.
Roll Tide.
Hey.
This podcast is over. Thank you.
Horns down, big guy.
All right. So,
sports reference.
So, last 1, 2, 3 matchup. You got your almost semi-local Iowa State University Cyclones versus the Fighting Illini.
Fighting Illini all day.
So,
Iowa State Cyclones going down just because they're your favorite team. They're going down. Yep.
They're my favorite team just this week. Don't forget that. Remember, everybody makes fun of me. I got 2 favorite teams, but it is what it is, bud.
What do you say with someone with 2 favorite teams?
I don't know. It's their team of the week.
They can't make up their damn mind, so they don't.
Yeah,
they don't
I know, right?
Or that's bandwagoner.
Another sports reference.
Bandwagoner.
Bandwagoner.
See, I'll take the heat. I'll still sit in the kitchen. It's fine. Iowa State Illini. Illini is a 3 seed. Iowa State's a 2 seed. Iowa State is actually favored in this one by 1.5. Who are you taking?
I just told you.
You're really taking the Illini?
By 10.
You are crazy.
By 10.
Iowa State has...
It's going to happen.
Iowa State has that, statistically speaking, the second best defense in all of college basketball. And the only people in front of them is the University of Houston. University of Houston got swamped by 20 by Iowa State in the Big 12 championship game. Mm-hmm. You're really taking Iowa State. That's fine.
I'm going to take all the upstate.
Or no, you're taking Illini. Yeah. I'll take the Cyclones, but I do think the Illini is going to win. I'm going to stay loyal to the Cyclones, but they've been rolling. They won the Big 12. They were projected to finish 7th in the Big 12 this year. They ended up taking the cake and taking it home. I think their luck runs out. I think Illini wins, but go Clones.
Go Illini. And that's going to conclude the podcast.
Rah.